Okay, good. So welcome everyone. I had shared the bio of Dr. Winny Routray. Has an elegant background, and I was just mentioning to her, she is very punctual also in time wise, and has accomplished a lot at her young age. So that impressed me. So I'm hopeful that you all will enjoy a great talk today by Dr. Routray. So with that, without much ado, let me request Dr. Routray to share the screen and talk about her topic today, the tea talk.
Thank you, sir. Uh, Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I think this is the most exciting presentation I'm giving because it is in front of the alumni of my own institute. And thank you for this. I would be talking about fishery processing byproducts, potential and challenges. Basically, got the experience about this in Memorial University of Newfoundland. I'm currently working with School of Engineering, University of Guelph, and I'm associated graduate faculty there also. So we also work with some of the marine samples with the students there. The reason for this is that because in Indian context, we are very much used to eat the whole fish. I mean, head and all the parts, and it is a very nutritious thing as well. But commercially, what happens at many places, and the trend is also catching up in India, where we are processing it in a way that we are discarding certain portions. Because, for example, especially in case of restaurants and all, people prefer to eat certain pieces which have more protein rather than head or tail or parts like this. And kids are also offered the parts of fish fillets, and also in those cases also we are discarding quite a lot right now. And with time and with the kind of eating habits which are proceeding right now, and probably in future also, we can expect that the trend will also come into play in India, and we will have subsequent byproducts derived from fishery as well. But so today, I will be giving you a brief about what is like how much fisheries are contributing in world and in India, and some of the unit operations which are basically being followed right now in different parts of the world, which are contributing to the waste production or byproducts production in case of fisheries, and different types of fish industry waste. So what are the different challenges, because this is an animal waste and plant waste are basically fibrous, or we have different products right now in the market which are utilizing the byproducts and providing us quite a lot of means antioxidant based products are quite a lot available right now in the market, which are derived from the plant byproducts. But animal byproducts are definitely challenging because like animal processing is challenging and animal byproducts are also challenging. So we will discuss some types of the fish industry waste which we collect and what are the challenges associated with it, and some of the established products which are there right now available in the market are being explored as well, and potentially how we are trying to make the process is economically beneficial as well as environment friendly. That also we will see. We'll discuss briefly about the concept of biorefinery, how it can be applied in case of processing of animal byproducts, and some of the equipments I will just discuss while talking about it, which are being used, and like how we can mold it in case of Indian scenario as well. I will discuss during the presentation as well. So Basically, we can see that traditionally, whatever fish production has boomed quite a lot, like blue economy, which we are calling it right now, and it has boomed a lot throughout the world. And but eventually, what has happened, like food consumption, like consumption of fishes as food, has increased tremendously, but non-food uses is kind of constant still. So it's not that we are not producing a lot of byproducts, but the capacity building, which is there for utilizing the fishes for food purposes, are being developed with increase in production. But the facilities, any kind of, whether it is storage, whether it is processing, which should be in place to use the fisheries for non-food purposes, they are not that much there. Means we are not building the capacity in that way. So, however, you can see that why fish is such means the fish industry is expanding so fast. Fish is a very good source of different nutrients, and if we talk about animal proteins, and then with less controversy, fish protein can be a first choice for many countries, right? So we don't have problem with people fulfilling for halals and those kind of brands as well. So this is kind of quite acceptable throughout the world, and any coastal area or anywhere, fish is counted as a good protein source. So that's why the production as well as consumption has increased tremendously. And India, okay, so there are two kinds which we can say: inland fisheries and the fishery which are established in the oceans or seas. And in that case, India, as we can see, I think a part of this is not visible. Okay, so this is the fisheries which we are obtaining, like based on the collection and everything. India comes at seventh position worldwide, and this is a percentage as we are contributing according to 2018, what we are doing from marine resources. And at the same time, inland fisheries, we are second. So we are actually producing quite a lot. So as I said, like the processing and the kind of consumption we have in India is very different as compared to other countries. Probably that is one of the major reasons why we don't see the byproducts in that way as well. But recently, I was actually talking to a friend. We were discussing that if we can develop something, a project, for example, in which local businesses can be involved and all. Probably everybody would agree that in Indian marriages, at least in, we can take in the case of Odisha, fish is a very important ingredient or a component which is added in different parties. So what is being done right now at fish market itself, fish is being cut and processed, cleaned and everything. The pieces which will be more acceptable, for example, not head, not tail, but the middle portions, they are being sold and other parts are being discarded. So basically, we are actually producing quite a lot of waste, but information about that is not that present in that way that we can use it. So he said that, yeah, we can actually collect quite a lot, and people are discarding it because they don't know. And one of the other things why we don't worry that much about animal waste or other things, in India we have a temperature range which is there, in which actually basically whatever biological material is discarded, it might smell for a while, but it gets deteriorated and becomes a part of the soil. And mostly we can see that manure is being produced, biofertilizers are being produced, and different other products like that are being produced. But any other value added products from animal byproducts is very rare, right? So that's there. But however, we can say that with the kind of trend we have right now, byproduct production from fisheries is quite a lot. So probably we should think in that direction. Now in India, some of the states which produce quite a lot, like top five fisheries states in India, 2017-18. Andhra Pradesh is at the top, West Bengal, Gujarat, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. And Odisha is also there, where we are actually seeing a rise in fish landing. Fish landings is basically when it is being collected and then the fish which we are actually getting it to the shore and further processing it. So we are not actually in the decreasing trend, but however, our numbers are increasing. So probably in Odisha, in future, we can see that the production, the landing, and the processing will increase. Presently, we can say that Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala, states like these, they are actually exporting to different parts, including Europe as well. Like in France itself, I have seen the products which were transported from Gujarat there. On ice, generally, fish is transported, or else they're also transported in barrels and then killed on the spot when the buyers are taking it. However, yeah, it fetches a higher price, that's there, but that option is also there in certain places. So that way we are exporting, as well as there are some trends. Recently, one of our students came to me with an opportunity he got, that there were some companies which are setting up facilities in India where they were collecting from different regions the fish, and they were bringing it to shore to Tamil Nadu, and there they were packaging it and resending it to other parts of the world. So that is also happening. In that way, also our fishery business is booming currently. So basically, if we talk about fish processing, then again in fisheries we have one shelled fish and the other one is fin fish. So if we talk about mackerel and salmon or hilsa, these are all fin fish. And shrimp, crab, these are all shell. Uh, means crustaceans, which are shrimp is basically the shellfish, which we call. So in case of fish processing, gutting is the first step which is done, in which the internal organs are removed and then it is washed. And this process which I have described here, it is commercially done at many places. So either it is done handled by people, or it is done using machines. So that is there. So first step is gutting, then it is washed, then the head is separated. So it's a V-shaped cut is generally done rather than just a parallel cut. V-shaped cut is done so that the head separates out. Then the filleting is done. So here, the middle bone of the fish, when it is very big fish like salmon, not a very big salmon cannot be counted as a very big fish, but it is a big enough fish to be dealt with machines. So in that, middle bone is separated, and then the side pieces, those are the fillets, they are cut into smaller pieces, and marketable shapes and sizes are obtained from that. After filleting, the next step is skinning. Skin is removed. In many cases, we can say that while filleting, bones are separated as well. Pinning machine are there. So after 24 hours of rigor mortis, when the fish is there, so it becomes easy to take out the bigger bones out of the fish fillets. And then further, it is processed. Next step is it is washed again. After each step, it is washed. And then finally, it is cut into marketable pieces, and then it is frozen and sold. Two types. Sometimes it is plate freezing also, and sometimes it is also frozen as individual pieces, which can be further processed. So all these options are there. In case of shrimp also, depending on the application, either the shrimp is frozen as such and sold, or else it is cooked to separate the shells, actually, basically for that reason. And in that case, of course, we are producing a lot of peels, water is there, and head part is separated mostly. Tail part is generally kept in the marketable pieces also. And then quality check and inspection is very common at each step, after each step. Then brining is done, draining, then freezing, then glazing. Glazing is basically done for the increase of the marketability of the product, and then quality check, packaging, and frozen storage and marketability. In case of crab, which is another crustacean, which is very popular as a food, in that case, mostly we can say that after the warm water bath, which is basically done for slowing down and killing of the crab, butchering is done, and that leg pieces are the pieces which fetch higher price. So that's why they are kept separately. And otherwise, the internal organs and everything in crab shells, that kind of is a very big byproduct of the crab market. That's there. So crab legs generally are separated out, cooked, and either they are further processed and the flesh is separated, or the legs are packed as such. Cool down, brining is done, freezing is done, and then they are like sold in marketable versions of the product. So this way, a lot of products, like a lot of byproduct is being produced. In case of fish, we can categorically say that like the pieces which are discarded are the head, internal organs, and the middle bone. And in case of shrimp, it is basically the head region and the shells. And in case of crab also, it's the shell. Mainly it is the shell. So internal organs are also there, but shell is a very big part of it, we can say, because in smaller crabs also, shells contribute quite a lot in case of the byproduct production. Now, if we see the unit operations, basically, if we are talking about like what are the different steps, then we have to understand that as soon as we try to increase the number of steps of processing, whether it is for fish, whether it is for shrimp, then the byproduct production keeps on increasing. For example, in our case, if we say we are consuming the whole fish, then it is fine. We are not basically discarding much of the waste, which can be further utilized. It's a table waste, so it can only become manure or waste of that kind. However, if for example it is for any kind of like marriage or parties, in that case we are producing quite a lot of waste. And even in case of for example the hotel chains or restaurant chains, they are also producing quite a lot. But other than that, quality assessment for the retail, that produces quite a lot. And we have to understand, when we are catching a fish anywhere in the world, then anything which is undersized or unsaleable or is an unwanted fish, then it is discarded. Sometimes when it is not good, then it is discarded while capture or subsequently somewhere. And during landing also, at each step, probably we are losing a certain amount of mass that is there. Then throughout the processing, of course, we are producing quite a lot. Dried products, when are being produced, there also we are quite a lot of waste, chips, powders, everything. In case of canned and frozen products, now again, processing is increasing. So the number of discards, anything, for example, canning, there is a particular shape and size which is required in that version. The fish fillet has to be converted, or the shrimp has to be converted to further can or freeze or anything. Subsequently, for minced fillets and processed pieces as well. Now, if we look at the tables here, like this is the edible portion of different kind of fish. Now here we can see that 35% is the lowest amount of edible portion. 65% that means is the waste, and highest goes up to 50. So 50% is still a waste. Now in case of many other shellfish also, the same is here. Like edible portion can be as low as 12%. This is for worldwide different kind of species which are being consumed right now, and it goes as high as, for example, 44 and not more than that. So rest of it is all waste. Now this is again like for example, we are these are some of the products which are processed products derived from fisheries, which are quite popular. And this is like we can see 70% as high as 70% we can go in terms of waste generation, and lowest is 10%, which probably might not be a lot, but otherwise the amount of waste generated in each form, 70% is quite high actually. So that's there. Now, what are the different parts which are being produced? Heads, bones, scales, in this case, blood, internal organs, cut waste pieces, and waste oil and wastewater. So some of the products which have been produced right now and are available in the market, quite a lot of these, fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids, proteins and amino acids from fish sources are very popular as well. Anticoagulants such as heparin and enzyme inhibitors, gelatin. Fish gelatin is a quite like it's quite popular as compared to other gelatin sources, which can be either from bovine sources or our from pig as well. So pork. When it is being processed, at that time also gelatin is being produced from different parts, but fish gelatin as compared to that is quite popular. Chitosan from fish sources, fishery industry is very popular as well. Other enzymes, carotenoids, astaxanthin is a very big, like very important compound in that case. And wherever, for example, oil-rich byproducts are produced from fishes such as salmon and other high oil containing fishery products, in that case, biodiesel is also being produced. And hydroxyapatite is another particular product. For example, we can say that, yeah, the market might be less for these kind of particular products, but these are there. Wherever, for example, there is a huge production of byproducts, they are coming up with these kind of like products. Now, what are the different forms? If we say, then dried form, liquid dried extracts, encapsulated extracts like omega-3 especially, or fish oil or protein amino acids, these are present in these kind of forms to be used in different cases. And chitosan is can be a part in many cases of bioplastics, or like the oil-based bioplastics are also being used in quite a lot of markets. So fish oil can be used for that production as well. Then multi-composite biopolymers are being produced. In that, there are several layers, and chitosan is quite popular in that case. And ultimately, biochar, feed as a feed, actually, fish waste is used quite a lot because it's a cheap source. And for example, for animals who produce fur, which is further used for making fur coats and all, those animals are specifically fed with these means byproducts, salmon byproduct, for example. Then biofertilizer, manure, these are also produced from this because it's easy. Basically, because it is easy to convert it to manure and biofertilizer as compared to any other value added products, it is being converted to that quite a lot. Now, this is an example. This was part of my experiment, which I did in Marine Institute, Memorial University. So there, this is the internal organ, which is separated out as a whole. And this is the middle bone of the salmon. And these are the heads. So we can see here that it is cut V. So the cut is V for separating it from the fillet. Here also we can see the cut. Now, clearly here, as we can see that the head is the darkest because of the predominant content of minerals in it. Frame is next because still bones are there, and guts. Okay, guts is the internal organs. Now, the challenge was there that when we talked with the local farmers there in Newfoundland, where I had actually the practical experience of handling the fish waste and everything, is that for frame, which is the middle bone, and the head, they had an outlet. Like they were feeding it to different animals because they had a lot of calcium and everything. But for internal organs, there wasn't much to do. So they were basically trying to produce from the fat which was collected from the internal organs to convert it to biodiesel, which could be used in local boats and all as a replacement for biodiesel and petrol in that area. So here, this was also a very promising result where we obtained actually quite a lot of fat. And in that, the internal organs were containing the highest amount of fat. Next was protein content was higher in other parts as compared to the internal organs. So that was also significantly seen. Other than that, there are a lot of minerals which are present, and and this is also a factor because of which head and the frame, which is the middle bone, is fed to different kind of animals, because that is still a very good source of different kind of minerals, protein, and fat, which is required by them. So some of the challenges which were faced during that time now also is the fast spoilage of all the parts, and in that actually internal organs have the they kind of provide us with the highest challenge of fast spoilage, because there are so many enzymes which are present there. It digests internally those organs, and by the time we come to use it, it's practically unusable, means we cannot go ahead with it. And one more thing is that the mindset people spend for storage or any kind of treatment is done to provide the products, and they don't have that same kind of facility to utilize any kind of biomaterial for byproduct utilization. Means if we ask any fish industry guy or any fish farmer that do you have a facility where you can store the fish discards, then they will definitely say no. And if we ask them that do you want to develop it, or if we provide you with the technology so that you can actually have you can make extra money out of it, they might not be that convinced, because for them to change the setup to accommodate the byproducts is a huge deal, and they probably might not be open to that option, because they see that okay, this gets means probably they can fetch that amount of money, and that is one of the reasons why we have very fast spoilage for all these biological byproducts. So because we need to store it in store under the storage conditions which are as similar as any other product which is derived from that source. So whatever we are doing to store the fish fillet, we need a similar kind of storage for other discards, whether it is frame or head or internal organs. That is not there. Now, there's a huge variability between even in the same species. The like environmental impact is there, and there are many different factors which are affecting it, and that makes it challenging as from batch to batch to have a uniform sample to think about how to use it. So that is another reason why many people opt for manure or biofertilizer development from these sources rather than you using it for other purposes. Now, the scale of production and processing, that is also varying at different places. Probably most of the fisheries which are there, they are small scale, mostly. So we can have probably in an area a facility which collects from different parts, even though there is a variability, and then have the facility to utilize it further, because individually it cannot be done by different fish businesses or fish farms, right? So that challenge is there. Now, specifically, if we talk about the crustaceans, thickness of the shell, the third challenge which I have noted down here, that is very prominent. That varies between different kinds, and with the crab, it's very difficult. And why it's worth mentioning, because for example, why we need the technology to have to utilize these kind of byproducts is that we came across a problem in Newfoundland itself, because there I got a chance to encounter with a lot of fish farmers. So there was an invasive species of a crab, a small crab, which was attached to the barrels, the and the barrels, I will say, the ship containers, which were bringing different kind of commodities from China to their island. And that was an invasive species, as it was like fighting for resources with the local fish which was there in the ocean and in the other water bodies, as well as it was eating the smaller species of fish which were there, and like which were part of the ecosystem of Newfoundland. So they were, but the crab, the challenge with that crab, I don't remember the name of that crab anymore, but they were very small. So there was no way that that could be used for food purposes. They were searching for ways to utilize it for other things, so that and it was an invasive species. It got a new appropriate environment. It was growing like means it was growing very fast, and it was killing more and more smaller animals of that particular ecosystem. So that was a big challenge there. So they were thinking there about utilizing it for other purposes. Challenge was that the crab shell is so thick. How to first treat that and then go for other applications, right? So that was there. Um, so now, if we look at the detailed composition, in case of shrimp shell, moisture obviously is the highest. It's whether it is shell or heads, and crude protein content is very high. Lipid is there. Shrimp head has a higher concentration of lipid, and chitin content is very high, which is converted to chitosan in many cases and utilized further. Now, in case of the crab shell also, apart from protein, fat content is very less, of course. Ash means mineral content is very high. So crab shell as such can be used for many things. And other parts which are there, like chitin, chitosan are there in case of that also. Carbohydrate portion is very high in that. So both of these could be further explored with proper treatment for other things, like because chitosan is a very valuable component, as we will see in the future slides. So now the if we know about fish oil, and probably cod liver oil everyone might have consumed at some point of time, and the major reason behind eating cod liver oil is that it contains omega 3. So why fish oil, why to consume fish oil? Because like 1/3 of 1 gram of fish oil generally contains on an average omega 3. Now, the amount which we should consume every day to avoid significant diseases, which is being recommended currently, is 500 mg of omega 3 per day. Now, nowadays we will see like omega 3. We will know that uh, is the most common term which is being used right now. But then again, omega 3 with omega 6 and omega 9 is also there, which is like termed as important omega omega important fish oil components. So in that way, for great health, we need around 1000 mg of omega 3 per day. So that is like a lot of omega 3 which we need, and how much fish can we consume, right? So it's like many a times it is said that mushroom is containing high concentration of vitamin D. But at the same time, how much mushroom are we supposed to eat to have that concentration which is required, right? So that's why a lot of times we need to take those tablets which have that content, or the minerals or the components which are necessary for our good health, as compared to as like those are called supplements, right? So along with the regular food, that's why in that case probably we need fish oil also, and we should explore different sources of fish oil. Currently, apart like so, okay, some of the fish which are very high in case of lipid content and are regularly consumed, mackerel and cod. So that's why cod liver oil, it's 70% lipid in the liver. So that's why it is a very popular byproduct which is used for lipid extraction. So what is generally used as a source of fish oil is that very small fish, those are explored because like in our case we eat it, but in many countries it's not consumed. Like it's very hard to cook or make any dish out of it. In many parts, Asian countries we do, but in other parts it's not done generally. So they are explored for fish oil extraction. Along with that, fish discards, they are also used, but smaller fish, they are used quite a lot. Now in case of cod, which is actually quite a lot consumed in different parts of the world, liver is produced at a very high scale. So that's why cod liver oil is a very important commodity. Now, we will see in the market omega-3, depending on the omega-3 concentration or the quality of omega-3 which is there retained in the fish oil, prices can range from cheap to very high, like 6,000 or 7,000 bottles as well. Like they basically say that it has higher concentration of omega-3. So that comes into picture when because of the processing. What kind of processing they're applying so that they have high quality oil. Okay, so before going to the next slide, so generally heat extraction, like heat is applied, and in that case, oil is separated, and that oil is further explored. Currently, the same technique is being used mostly. However, enzymatic extraction can give us a better quality oil, and reusability of enzymes for that reason is being explored because it's definitely more expensive as compared to heat extraction. That's why that is one of the major reasons why heat extraction is still a very common process for fish oil extraction. So in the lab, actually, we did a certain analysis for extraction of oil, and this was done using enzymes. So particular, and this is the picture from my experiment on salmon frames, like the middle bone, which was. So in that case, what we did is like different kind of samples we took, and in that we used enzymes. It's digested in incubator shaker at a particular temperature after adding the enzyme into the ground fish frame, and after that that was subjected to centrifugation. So in that we got the topmost layer is oil, and the oil is orange in this case because of the presence of astaxanthin, which is the carotenoid. Now the middle portion between the oil and the protein hydrolysate, this is kind of an immersion of the oil and the protein hydrolysate. And in the bottom, we can see a black portion that is our bones and other minerals which are heavier minerals which got separated. So we had different commodities out of that. Now mostly what I was doing during my experiment, I was separating the bones itself, which were bigger bones. So after washing, they looked really nice actually in my experiment. And so I loved this picture because it looks, after washing, it was absolutely white, and this is all calcium. Right. So this is a commodity in itself, like it can be dried and further used as a calcium rich source. And then after separating the protein and oil from this part, centrifugated sample, we were getting the bottommost portion, which contained a little bit of other parts as well, but predominantly it had minerals. So we used to like the common term which was used was sludge for this one. So this could be further explored, like for any kind of manure or anything. And then this protein plus oil, we were separating the protein hydrolysate part and the oil. So this was further converted through spray drying by one of our so this was like converted to powder, and this was the oil. Now, some of the, like why fish oil is so important, mainly it contains PUFA, and omega-3 is one of the categories of these PUFAs. So fish oil is important because some of the omega-3 fatty acids, they are not there in plant-based oil, which we are consuming generally. So For example, EPA, DHA, these are some of the UFAs which are predominantly present in fishery sources. So that's why fish-based sources are encouraged so much. And these has wide range of beneficial properties, like benefit for cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, inflammatory disease, and rheumatoid arthritis as well. Now, this is how astaxanthin looks like. And the fact here is that Hematococcus pluvialis, this is the microorganism, and there are some other microorganisms also who actually produce this compound, astaxanthin. And that is accumulated in other organisms, including the crustaceans. And as we move up in the food chain, it travels through different food mediums and gets deposited in parts of the birds and all. Krill is also a small organism which accumulates quite a lot. There are crabs also which accumulate. Shrimp is definitely a good source of astaxanthin as well, and it accumulates quite a lot of it. Why astaxanthin is important? It is a very good antioxidant, and it is quite nice. Its antioxidant activity is higher than vitamin E, C, and beta carotene, which are very important. Okay, due to time constraint, I'm moving very fast. So there are different ways through which it can be extracted. These are some of the methods which have been summarized here. Now, chitin and chitosan, like chitin is not the most used version, chitosan is. And this is also extracted from the shells. So what's the use of it? Mostly in biomedical purposes, chitosan is being used quite a lot. And chitosan based films are very popular right now, and we will see quite a lot of edible films which are being derived from this. And the main reason here is that it has antimicrobial properties, as well as it is quite versatile in nature to be combined with other components, and so that antioxidant properties can be added into it and the film can be good. Okay, so like how it is done, basically this is the process which is applied for biorefineries as well. So mainly as we are extracting it from crustacean sources, so first step is decalcification. It can be a chemical source or a biological source, a biological method of extraction. Then deproteination, decolorization, because it mostly has astaxanthin. Astaxanthin has to be separated at this stage. Then the chitin which we are getting, deacetylation, like this group has to be separated from the main structure, and we obtain the chitosan, which is further used. Now, this is an example of biorefinery. Like I showed the slide with bones and protein hydrolysates and oils. Similarly, we can actually use the fish processing waste. We can obtain pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, fish meal, proteins, and fish islets, and while stepwise processing it, as well as we can obtain the like after, for example, while we are producing biodiesel, we are producing glycerol as a byproduct, which can be further used. So it's a quite versatile biomaterial which can be explored quite a lot. This I had prepared one for astaxanthin, like different methods how it can be produced, and what are the different products which are produced along with astaxanthin, like chitin, chitosan, protein hydrolysate, oil and fatty acids, which can be further used as well. So this is an example of biorefinery as well, like how we are producing different products simultaneously, value-added products. So I wanted to show the picture of the Dr. Deepika Dave because she's the main person under whose guidance I actually learned about it. And this is the new, the part of Canada where I was, St. John's here. This is the city. So this was the facility where most of the work we had done on fisheries. Right now, I'm collaborating with some of the like scientists from other institutes in India also, who are working with local people to explore the possibility of use of fishery waste. But yeah, it is taking a bit of time here. But hopefully in future we can use the like the knowledge which we have gained through these experiments and these studies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rautray. That was a very enthusiastic presentation, and I didn't want to stop you. We have only 10 minutes left, so
Oh
I'll
my.
just open it up for discussion, questions. Anybody?
I can't see this.
Huh?
I can't see the screen. Oh my
Oh, I
God.
don't know. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we can see your screen. Oh, you just close.
Okay,
You
okay.
stop presenting. You stop
Oh, stop
presenting.
share. Stop
Stop
share.
sharing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And now I
we'll
can
get
see.
it up if needed. So, Kalpana, you had a question or comment?
Comment is too much of science. So generally, because generally, actually, I had seen this one because I had invited for our students' presentation. So I already knew this, but today I think it's almost second time properly completed. But we need just 4 or 5 days back, we had one review from ICR team, QRT team. So there were some scientists from SIFA. You are hearing
Okay.
me? So
Yes, yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he talked about that aquaponics. He has a very huge
Yes, yes,
project.
yes, yes.
And what they said that whatever water they are getting from fish processing, that they are using in the aquaponics, that we know. And after that, after use, they are again redirecting the water to the same, to the fish again, to the pond where they are
Okay.
rearing the fish. So
Mm-hmm.
some ammonia is getting depleted by the plants or something like that. You are saying any idea?
Mm-hmm.
You have any idea
Yes,
on
ma'am. Actually, yes, they
wastewater?
are doing
Wastewater.
it in. Yes, they are doing it in certain places. There is one fishery in south also. They are doing it. So they are basically settling the water. They are not treating, as you said in this case. They are not using aquaponics there, but they are doing some treatment, chemical treatment to neutralize the water. Then they are settling it and using it for irrigation. Uh, Not getting it back to fisheries though.
That means purifying the water. But here the concept of
Yes.
hydroponics, where they are using nutrients, here what he says they don't have to use that. Means that
Mm,
nutrient part that is required in the hydroponics. Instead of that, they are using this and again recycling the same water to the pond. So
mm,
one area where they are getting some good results and it's a success story he was sharing. So I thought that I should also share this to the
mm.
forum if somebody doesn't know. Maybe many of them they may be knowing that.
Yeah.
Any other question? Any other question?
Hello, hello, Winnie. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you are working on protein hydrolysis?
I was working on that.
Okay. So any in your NIT, anybody is working or now nobody is working on that? Actually, I was
Uh,
also working.
Protein, actually, a lot of people are working. Like two of my friends are working on that. So they means as a whole they are working on the protein. I mean different parts of it. So protein hydrolysis is also included in that. But their sample is not animal based. It's mostly plant based.
Okay, I am working on that fish protein, basically fish protein hydrolysis I prepare
Okay.
for different
Uh-huh.
species, particularly
Uh-huh.
low cost fish, your ayalagatu and other thing. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I was working on that protein isolation from fish. Mostly,
Mm-hmm.
different enzymatic method we are using and isolate the protein. Now I'm shifting some other aspect now. So it is very thankful to you that you also associate with the fish processing and many information we got.
Thank you, sir. Mostly, sir, protein hydrolysate powder is quite popular. And it is used as a nutrient source in, it's used as a nutrient source in most of the cases. It's a very popular nutrient source. So it can be used for microorganisms or, and yes, that was one of the things which was being done. And as such, depending on the hydrolysate composition, it can be explored for further use. So, yeah, so that's there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question?
Actually, Debhai is out of the meeting. He was to, actually, he is hosting, no? So I don't know. If anybody is, now you have to manage your own show. Winnie, if anybody is having any question, any interaction. I don't know whether he knows that he is out of the meeting or not. Debhai, he's now out of the meeting. Okay. Okay.
He definitely told me that we have to wrap up by 8:30. That I know.
8 is no, there was some time for question here also as well, no, in that. So okay. If anybody is having anything to discuss, then we can continue. Sarah's learning. Okay. Sir, namaskar.
Namaskar, sir.
Debhai is coming back. He's joined back. He's joining here. He had got disconnected. Now he sent a message. Debhai is joining back. Sir, namaskar.
Sir, namaskar, sir.
Actually, there is a net problem. Many are getting disconnected.
Yes, probably, yeah.
Probably. Sudhanshu, તમારો କିଛି question ଅଛି? You want to discuss something? Unmute करो. તમે ନିଜକୁ unmute करो. Yes.
Yes, madam. Actually, Corona, we are working on the fish processing technology also. Engineering and fish processing division is one. So I had some PG student where I worked on that protein hydrolysate and evaluation of fish. Extrusion cooking also I worked for one student. So I am now concentrating on wastewater treatment, aquaculture wastewater treatment, particularly RS and Byproducts system, as I'm an aquaculture engineer. But I'm also keen interest on this because my department is same, fish processing technology and engineering. So a lot of work has to be done for protein hydrolysate because still in India, the protein powder, whatever the powder people are using, mostly from abroad. Few people in Cochin, I think in Kerala, they are making few people, very few people. People are aware of all those product, and the product cost is also more in India compared to other country. If you compare the amount, whatever the product they are.
Yes, because the production is low, so that's it. Yeah.
Production is low, and people are not aware also. All those things, they are not keen. Once available in market or all, people will keenly taking, and the benefit they don't know actually still. Many people, they don't know the benefits. Exactly how much amount, what you have shared that omega-3 fatty acid. Particularly people, they are thinking that they are taking fish, means every fish they got the omega-3 fatty acid. It is not like that. Mostly the sea fish what we are consuming, there the omega-3 fatty acid is enriched. Yeah, so that things, hope we will try for some collaborative project that will be better
yes, for
in
sure.
future.
Yes, for sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. I am
which
happy that.
university are you in, Sudhanshu?
Sir, sir, namaskar, sir. I am presently
Namaskar.
working. Presently, I am working in Central Agriculture University, Imphal. There is one college in Tripura, sir. College of Fishery. There I am working in Fishery Engineering Department.
Nice. Okay. Well, we are at the hour of the clock. Are there any other last questions? I got disconnected because my internet got disconnected briefly. But we do have the recording, so everybody can watch. And Professor D.K. Das has joined also. Namaskar, sir. And
sir, ଆପଣ ନିଜକୁ unmute କରନ୍ତୁ sir. Sir, ଆପଣ unmute କରନ୍ତୁ, ଆପଣଙ୍କ କଥା ଆମେ ଶୁଣି ପାରୁନୁ.
Dr. Das, Professor Das, you are muted. ସେ ଜାଣି ପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି. Anyway, what I was trying to say is this was a very interesting, eye-opening talk. And another thing I wanted to bring up is the cultural aspect of fish processing or fish byproduct processing. And what you have ignored probably in your whole discussion is scavenging. There is a whole lot of scavenging that goes on in fish byproducts, which is true to some parts of the world. Okay. We should include that. Yeah, go ahead. Because birds and certain animals, they scavenge, except the bone. The bone part is not scavenged properly. So many of those products are gone. So Native Americans, they actually leave it outside in the cold for wolves to devour some of the byproducts and for other animals that can devour it. So most of the waste is gone actually. So I'm not a specialist on that, but I like the social aspect of the whole thing. How does society, as you said, Bengal and Odisha, we have more consumption of fish as opposed to, let us say, if we go to Punjab, they don't even, or Gujarat, there is no consumption of fish. Okay. Another thing is shrimp. Odisha produces a whole lot of, used to produce. I don't think now they do. A whole lot of shrimp, but most of it is actually packed and shipped. So I don't think the byproduct was a big issue, at one point of time, except for the wastewater. So there is a whole lot of aspects that I understand the pharmaceutical aspect. I understand the health aspect of the oil and other stuff. And you mentioned biochar, fertilizer, those things are great. There is a smell aspect which we cannot ignore. Iowa, for example, has a bad smell throughout the summer because they put pork byproducts into the field. So essentially there is a whole lot of issues that we need to account for. But nevertheless, your lab scale studies are very interesting. Keep it up. Those are great, and I wish you all the best. This was one of the eye-opening. All are eye-opening. I'm not saying yours was all 10 so far has been very eye-opening for me, because I didn't even expect CITians to be working on these kind of things. When we graduated, like when we were in high school, we were told, you can be a doctor or an engineer. There was no other choice. Then when we graduated from CIT, we had farm machinery, soil water, some processing, and that's about it. Nowadays, people have moved into different aspects. So, well, I wish you all the best, and hopefully, we can talk more. And you have a partner now, Anshu. But at least we can, if we can organize an international conference, you can come and see what is going on in Alaska in fish industry, which I am not related to, but you can come and visit. Okay.
Yes.
With that, I'll thank everybody, especially thank Winny. We had a good turnout today. So hopefully others can watch the recording online in the YouTube. And of course, with Winny, your help, we can put it on LinkedIn.
Yes, sir, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, got a
Yes.
last question. Sir, got a last
Yes.
question.
Yes.
ଆପଣ କୋଉଠି ଅଛନ୍ତି?
ମୁଁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଅଛି ହାୱାଇ ସି ବିଚ୍ ରେ।
ହଁ ମୁଁ ସେଟା ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଅଛନ୍ତି ନା ଖାଲି ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି? I wanted to
ନା
confirm.
ସେଟା ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ, ସେଟା ହଉଛି ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ।